racing now. I wish I win from last. A spectacular TJ win. Giga kick down the outside, wins the Everest. Shinzo and Ryan Moore have drawn clear to win the Golden Sliver.
With Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook, this is Racing Dreams.
Hello and welcome to Racing Dreams. Coming up on today's show, growing the next generation, the new pony series, getting kids and families into racing. Tommy Berry back in the saddle and ready to race after 7 months away from the track. And we catch up with Michael Kent Jr. ahead of his Spring Carnival campaign, of course, with Mick Price. But first, ladies and gentlemen, Julie is in New Zealand. Plenty to talk about, Julie.
Good morning to you, Timmy. We'll have a look at this. Isn't this an absolutely stunning part of the world? We are so lucky to be here this morning with Brent Taylor here at Trelawney Stud. Brent, first of all, thank you so much for having us, because what a special part of the world we're in.
We're very blessed where we live, and you're always welcome. It's lovely to see you here in New Zealand.
Thank you so much. Well, tell us exactly where we are in New Zealand.
We're in the central Waikato region. Waikato is known for being one of the powerhouses of the dairy industry, which is massive for New Zealand. And of course the centre of thoroughbred breeding in New Zealand here in the Waikato.
And your family has called this farm home for some time now. Tell us a little bit about Trelawney Stud, its significance here in the community.
Oh, well, certainly it is. It's the oldest commercial thoroughbred farm in New Zealand, started in the early 30s by the Otway family. We were lucky enough to buy the farm in the early 90s, and we've been there here ever since. And it is a wonderful, iconic piece of history of New Zealand thoroughbred breeding. 7 Melbourne Cup winners. Sort of latest successes, I suppose, are Ocean Park and Grunt, 2 up-and-coming young stallions, one here in New Zealand, one in Australia. And we're very blessed to have a unique farming property that produces wonderful fat cattle and sheep. And
we're having a look at those pictures now. Just stunning landscape here, and it is a unique sort of area as well. There's sheep on the farm, there's horses on the farm. It's a beautiful sort of property. What is it that I suppose you love most, if you can pinpoint, about this area and about calling this place home, because you've done so much here?
Yeah, it's it's a unique part of the world. You know, we're very much a sporting excellence of New Zealand here. We've got Lake Karapira down the road, which we've got a fantastic rowing program. We've got Velodrome, so we've got a lot of international sports people in the Waikato in this area, and then of course we've got fantastic racing and breeding. The iconic stud farms of Cambridge Stud and the Oaks and Waikato. Rich Hill and many others are here, and this is where the stallion power is here in the Waikato. So we base our mares here and have the opportunity of accessing all those stallions. Talk
to me about the mares we've got behind us here this morning, and this beautiful little filly that I just adore with the blaze over here. Who have we got?
The mare behind us here is Loire. She's homebred, won the 1,000 guineas for us. She's by Redout's choice. She's a half-sister to a Group 1 winner, and herself is a Group 1 winner winning the 1,000 guineas, and she's got a Frankel colt at foot. So we took the opportunity to send her to England, and she was covered by Frankel. We've got a beautiful just turned yelling filly, and we've got this lovely colt behind us as well. And the other one is a Circus Maximus filly. Again, opportunities to be able to use international bloodlines. He comes to New Zealand. Unfortunately, Frankel doesn't. Would be lovely to have him available to us, but the opportunity to send a mare up there has been great.
A big day of racing here in New Zealand?
Yeah, it is. First Group 1 race day, 9 Group 1 winners. We've got some really exciting 3-year-olds from last season coming out. Penny Wecker, who won your Oaks over there in the autumn, and Legato, which I think is probably one of the best fillies we've seen. 3-year-old fillies we've seen for many, many years. Pierre, another Group 1 winning 3-year-old, up against the older horses. So down at Hawke's Bay, fantastic track, fantastic racing.
Fantastic day.
Yeah, so unfortunately we don't have a runner there today, but would have loved to have.
What do you make of racing in the state of Australia and New South Wales particularly at the moment? Obviously here in New Zealand there's a lot of talk around the Everest for a well-deserved reason why Waikato Stud has I Wish I Win, which is just everywhere you go there's hype around this race.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's an iconic race now from, you know, just a very short time ago to develop this world-renowned race. We've got a fantastic runner in I Wish I Win. Waikato Stud are great breeders. They stand a fantastic stallion in Savabeel, and he, you know, as well known, he wasn't a perfect horse, but he is the perfect racehorse. And so we're kind of hopeful he'll be, you know, flying the flag for Entain. who is our new sponsor with the TAB here in New Zealand, and of course for Waikato Stud, Peter Moody's dear friend of New Zealand and ourselves, so we can't wait.
It's so exciting, and we've been fortunate enough to go out to Waikato Stud the last few days as well, and so we'll be talking about all things I Wish I Win in the lead up to the Everest. Thank you so much. Yourself and your beautiful wife Sherry have had us for the last few nights. It's been absolutely sensational. I promise I've been doing a lot of work. However, the hospitality here is second to none. We won't talk about the rugby this morning, but we are very grateful for your time, and we are very grateful for you having us.
Up the wires.
I knew you'd do that. Back to you, Timmy.
Yes, of course. They play Penrith later today. They lost to France, the All Blacks, but we'll watch with interest. We'll get back to Julie real soon.
This racing update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
Imagine what you could be buying instead.
It's exciting. Everest winner Giga Kick is back racing today in the McEwen in Melbourne. He's one of a number of wonderful horses who returned to the track today. Daily Telegraph journalist Shano Cass joins us from the newsroom. Morning, Shano. Giga Kick, this is exciting.
Well, it sure is, Tim. This is the first time Giga Kick's going to have a run at Moonee Valley. It's not a track that should worry him. It's not the easiest track to race at, but look, this is just for him to kick off, get back into Sydney for his Everest defence. And from all reports, the horse is going exceedingly well. So, look, hopefully he comes through it safe and sound, and if he wins, all the better.
Some very exciting horses returning to racing today, both in Sydney and Melbourne.
Well, there are. In Sydney, we've got the Run to the Rose, which is going to concentrate most of the action on the Golden Rose, which is coming up quite soon. There's a number of horses in the Shirako Stakes for the fillies and mares that could have an impact on the Everest. For example, there's Zapateo, one of the Godolphin horses, and there's also a filly called I Am Me, who's one of the dynamic syndication mares. Now, the interesting thing about her, Tim, she once ran 107.7 at Randwick for 1200. Now, Yes ran the course record there when he won the Everest, which was about 107.32. So she's getting into that time where she could potentially put herself in the top three or even win an Everest. So it'll be very interesting to see what she does today, because the field is a long way from being set. We only have 4 confirmed runners, as you well know. There are 8 spots still available. Some of those are probably behind the scenes, maybe getting closer to being stitched up now that we lost Nature Strip and Eduardo out of the race. But look, a lot of horses racing today could make a late charge for the Everest, and then of course an even later charge next week when we see the short stakes, which is pretty much the last stop for Everest horses.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? If we look at Michael Kent Jr., who's coming up on the show a little later, and Mick Price, they have formed a dynamic duo in training. They've got Globe, this exciting horse, returning today, and another horse which could be really in the lens for those looking at an Everest runner, What You Need. He returns next week, a stallion.
Well, yeah, he's an interesting horse. It's funny that the Kents and Mick Price have 2 unbeaten horses at the moment, and they're 2 of the potential massive spring stars. I mean, you mentioned Globe. He's won 4 out of 4, and I think he's won by a combined total of 14 lengths. Now, this is a big test for him today. He's in the Fian. But the other horse that you mentioned there, What You Need, he's a son of Sapito, who's also the sire of Buenos Noches, he's an Everest horse, in my opinion. So What You Need is going to race in a couple of weeks' time, as you mentioned. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if he makes it into the field, because we've had a complete changing of the guard from last year. I think we're only going to have maybe 2 horses from last year's Everest make it through to this year's Everest, with so many retirees and just other horses coming onto the scene. So look, there's a lot riding on what these animals are going to be doing in the next few weeks, and they really don't want to put a foot wrong, because their slot holders need to be impressed, because there's a big lure for them in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh yeah, $20 million race these days, and we've got Max Whitby coming up on the show shortly, and Max is yet to decide. Masked Crusader came second for Max and Neil Werrett a couple of years ago. He retired overnight. You mentioned Nature Strip, you mentioned Eduardo. It really is a changing of the guard, and these 3 have been great servants to this industry.
Well, they have. It's odd that they would all retire at the same time, particularly on the same day. But I suppose it was fitting that Nature Strip and Eduardo did retire on the same day out of the same race, because they did meet each other 13 times. I think it was 8-5 to Nature Strip. But Nature Strip is probably the one that everyone will remember. He is the second highest prize money earner of all time, only behind Winks, a stablemate. He only had one more start than Winks. He won 9 Group 1s, throw in the Everest, at Royal Ascot, of course, he won there. That's probably the 2 races that he'll be remembered for. But to win 3 TJs, it was just incredible. Chris Waller did an amazing job with the horse to keep him going through all those years. And even though he wasn't unbeaten and he was never really unbeatable, there were times when Nature Strip was, well, for a long time, he was the #1 ranked sprinter in the world, which is quite incredible. So he was a fantastic horse. He was much beloved by punters. Interesting that only won 50% of his starts, and I say only, but look, he raced at the highest level throughout his whole career, and look, he was a much loved horse in the general public, not just in Sydney, but all around Australia, and we'll miss him.
Almost all around the world. What a mighty horse. And a good win by Remark. We will talk to Max about that. I'll ask Max about Remark because I know John Massawa was very happy with that win last week. You got a quick tip for us at odds? Shane's Ruffy?
Last week we didn't do too well, but this week I'm another Chris Waller fan. Ashfall. It's in the race today, the Run to the Rose. It's $11. Jay Ford, Takeover Targets jockey. Look out for a big run from Ashfall.
Ashfall?
Ashfall, that's the one.
In the Run to the Rose. All right, we'll do it all again next week. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Tim.
This racing update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
What are you really gambling with?
As always, it's great to have your company on Racing Dreams, and quite amazing that the joyful impact you see horses have on people generally. They are so majestic in all the forms they come in. The smiles on children's faces at pony clubs all over Australia, absolutely priceless. This year, a lot more people are getting to see this unbridled joy with a new pony series at racetracks across Australia.
Looks good. Excellent. Well saddled.
So, Lydia, this is all, we've done many stories now over the course of 5 years, thoroughbred industry careers, and the pony racing comes under that banner?
Yeah, so we set up TIC, like you said, 2018-19. We were training mainly track riders and stable hands at that point, so this is taking it to that next step back, I suppose, and we're now training younger people to go in pony racing.
And people are seeing it at all the racetracks as well.
Yeah, it's great. I think a lot of times equestrians compete in a lot of sports that are never seen. You know, it's one of those things where they're never front and centre. So the pony racing really showcasing the skill of the ponies and the kids on our racetracks on television has been a great thing.
Little Jack the Grey burning clear. Sabrina's in second. They get right away from the rest. Meggie running on with Apache, but it's all Little Jack for Amber Carla. Races clear. Won it by 9 lengths.
I think you got lots of backers. Lots of people wanted to get around it, thankfully.
Yeah, so we raised a fund to pay for it all before we kicked off, and some of the original supporters of TIC, Arrowfield and Godolphin and Chris Waller, plus another 17 other amazing people in the industry, Gay Waterhouse being one of them. They supported it and backed it, so we got the money together to do it. And
Gay's here today seeing her granddaughters, and they blew out the candles for her birthday, which was fantastic, and wished her a happy birthday. It was a lovely moment.
Yeah, so she had 50 riders wishing a happy birthday, and I think it's so special that these kids get to meet someone like Gay Waterhouse in their lifetime. You know, I think you always remember the first time you met Gay. The reason we're doing this is to really engage with that world that will be our future staff, or that we hope will be our future staff. So we employ 75,000 people in full-time positions, but we didn't have a grassroots strategy of how to engage that future workforce.
It's fantastic. It happens overseas. It happens particularly in England. And what it does, it brings families to the racetrack and brings them to see their children competing with their ponies and learning horsemanship and skills that you just don't learn unless you're around animals.
Okay, so this time we're going to be doing a few loops in the arena just while our reins are bridged.
Tell us about the qualifying. How does the whole race thing go here?
So there's 3 parts to the series. There's taster days that we're holding all throughout Australia, and then from these taster days we select who we think would be the right fit for a pony race. The next stage is to have a training day, which is held on a racetrack, and then we select the final fields, and then they go to the race day. There's 6 qualifying race days, 12 qualifying races. So we go Brisbane, Melbourne next, then we head over to Perth, then we go up to Magic Millions, then we come back to Sydney, and then we go to Adelaide, and then the finals are in Sydney at Randwick in the autumn next year. So you'll see the best of the kids from every state riding against one another at the final.
But making a race of it, Roxy the outside. Roxy on the outside of Lexi. They pair off. They're clear of Koa. And then came Katie. A great go here. On the outside, Roxy. The inside, Lexi. Lexi on the inside for Antonio Maggiolo. And on the outside, Roxy for Ayla Griffin. They hit it. And Lexi will get home. Big salute for the crowd. Defeats Roxy.
What's the best thing about it?
How much the kids love it.
And the smiles.
Yeah.
And you can see them everywhere, can't you?
That's everything. That's why we're doing it.
As always, great to have your company on Racing Dreams. And of course, Julie is visiting New Zealand this week, and we find her at the beautiful Trelawney Stud. Jules, it does look pretty as a picture.
Oh, it's absolutely stunning. You can see the smile on my face. We've just had the most incredible few days here in New Zealand, visiting some of the best studs here in New Zealand, but probably the world as well. What they're achieving at the moment has been quite phenomenal. We stopped at Waikato Stud. We touched on this earlier in the show. There is a lot of hype coming out of Waikato Stud at the moment because we are 35 days away from the world's second richest race in the world now, the Everest. And Waikato has I Wish I Win running in their colours on October 14. And the team is just so thrilled because this gelding, when he was actually born with these quite wonky legs, to the point that I asked the owners there, Mark, whether or not he had any photos of this foal, and he said, to be honest, he's not one that we thought we should take photos of. And it's just been this incredible story, and there's this lovely hype around the farm. Everyone's very excited, everyone's very energetic, and everyone's very proud because they are flying the New Zealand flag on the world stage. It's quite phenomenal to see the reaction here. And of course, his gelding is trained by Peter Moody. Peter has been friends with the family there at Waikato, Mark Chittick and the Chittick family, for quite some time now. So this is really such a lovely story, and it means so much to them, not only on the farm there, but also here in New Zealand. So we were fortunate enough to see the incredible
having a little bit of trouble with the link, but Julie was about to talk about Savabeel. We'll do that a little bit later on in the program. But along with Julie, there are many strong, smart, passionate women in this industry. One of them has been a friend of mine, media colleague for a number of years, I won't say how long. Caroline Searcy, good morning and welcome to Racing Dreams.
Good morning, Tim. It's fabulous to be here. What a great show it's been so far. And it really is important to be getting racing and the breeding industry out into a wider sort of, a viewership, because racing's in a real bubble. So congratulations to yourself and Julie on the show. It's
thanks,
great.
Caroline. For you and I, who both love horses, those shots from Cambridge, aren't they? How good are they?
Oh, Brent and Cherry Taylor. I know Julie is having a fabulous time. They are the hosts with the most, that's for sure.
And look, equine welfare, the way that horses are looked after when they race, before they race, when they race and when they retire is so important to this industry, to the people that work in it. A new initiative by Racing New South Wales, Equimillions. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
Yeah, look, Equimillions is fantastic. It's coming up on the October long weekend, just up the road at SIAC, where I believe your wife is today.
Yes.
So it's fantastic because the prize money is astronomical. We're talking about $30,000 for winning a class, and it's only $1,000 to enter. A lot of people thought that was a little bit too steep for them, but what's happened is we're seeing a lot of people actually supporting riders within the competition. So, you know, some of the studs, the race clubs, the ATC is sponsoring a couple of clerks of the course in Kelly Williamson and Brooke Summers. You know, people are really getting behind it to try and give, particularly some of the younger riders that might find it hard to pay the entry fee, a chance to get their thoroughbred into this competition. And as you can see, the vision here is just stunning. If you get a chance to get out there to the Equimillion, there'll be a huge crowd because so many people are involved. And, you know, Peter Volandis and Russell Balding and the team there at Racing New South Wales to support something like this in New South Wales, to give back to the people taking on thoroughbreds is really, really vital. And to promote the breed as fabulous athletes off the track.
They are beautiful, aren't they? They're beautiful, beautiful animals. Yep. I've got a story coming up over the next couple of weeks with Lucy and Jason Addard, who basically race their horses out of their farm in the foothills of the Blue Mountains. and just to see them up close and personal and in that format is just extraordinary.
It is, and I think when you see horses that are away from the racetrack, you see the majesty. We see it on race day, obviously, but when you visit the stud farms or, you know, you get these horses to the track. I mean, Kate Nippers, who's an aspiring Paralympian, she's going to be out at Rosehill Gardens today.
Yep.
Next week, we're going to have Brooke and Kelly out there with their horses for the Equimillions. So when you get to see the horses up close, it really captures particularly young people because you fall in love with the horses, and that then transfers into people that want to work in the racing and breeding industry. They want to buy horses. They want to have a bet on them. They get to know who these horses are. It all is part of the whole sort of cycle of the racing and breeding industry.
And we saw that with the pony story. Lindy Maurice, a fantastic initiative, and Gay Watershouse out there, and Luke Ricketson and Kate had their daughters there. So it was all quite terrific. Now you are on the board of the Australian Turf Club these days. Some big things happening at the Turf Club, including some changes of hours with track work. How's that gone down and what's happening?
Well, look, it's been a really interesting, particularly the last few months. This has been talked about for a long time because it is a part of a lifestyle that some people really want to hang on to because they have their whole life built around going to the track really early. And it is important to them. They have to change some of the, whether they're picking up young kids, in the early afternoon or they go and have a break in between track work. But the biggest issue, not only for the Australian Turf Club, is a big metropolitan, 3 big metropolitan tracks, but really around the country is your liability sort of issues, the risk of someone coming back from, late, they might have been out at a bush track or they might have had night racing at Canterbury and they get back on a horse, sometimes only 4 hours later. And the risk of that and something going wrong when they're sleep deprived is a massive issue. So, look, a lot of people, big and small trainers, have been very, very supportive of this move. We're trying to work as a club to make it as easy a transition as possible coming in February of next year. But it also is really important to know that a lot of people were saying we should have started at 6 o'clock at all the tracks. And there are different, factors at play between the different tracks and the numbers of horses that they need to get through within that sort of track work time. So the club is listening, but it is a whole of industry sort of issue. And I think just going gradually to this step, 5 o'clock at Randwick and Warwick Farm and 5:30 at Rosehill is the way to go.
Now, you and I both love Scone, both good friends of John Massara and many of the others. You've got a personal favourite up there because you host a lot of the stallion parades as well.
Yes. Oh, look, the Autumn Sun. I mean, Arrowfield Stud and what John Massara and his team up there have done is absolutely fantastic. And, he's come out with a bang. He was a champion colt. He was the same as his sire, Redute's Choice.
Rosehill Guineas. I remember John had a cup of tea.
the Golden Rose and those he'd come from behind and win really, really well. He had a winner through the week, Harvest Moon, for Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott, from an Oaks winner, Pinot. So he got some really good mares, obviously. Autumn Ballet, she won the Black Opal. She came back and won the first leg of the Princess Series, the Silver Shadow Stakes. I think he's in for a big autumn, and I think he is the stallion. Being a champion himself, he's the real sire to watch, I think, not only from Arrowfield Stud, but right across the board.
Good tip today.
Oh, look, I like Zugotcha coming up. Yeah, I think
decent price too, Caroline.
Yeah, she is. She was $10 when I looked last night. I haven't had a second to have a look at it as yet here today. But the Shirako Stakes, I mean, she's a flight stakes winner, second up last prep. She won the Far Lap Stakes, as we're seeing here, beating horses such as Madame Pomeroy, and there's the Golden Slipper winner, Fireburn, in her wake. So I think Zugotcha, each way, I think she's a fabulous chance in the Shirako.
Caroline, so good to have you on the show. We've got to get you on again soon, huh?
Love to. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Champion jockey Tommy Berry is nearing the end of a 7-month disqualification from the only job he's ever known. As you're about to hear, this time away from the sport has been a blessing in disguise. The sparkle has returned to his eye, and the 32-year-old is more grateful for his family and the racing industry than ever.
Period you've had away from racing. How are you, first of all, feeling?
No, feeling really good. It's funny. It's an old cliche how everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you don't need a break till you have one. And obviously the circumstances of how I got my break weren't ideal, but I'd have to say it's the best thing that's happened to me. Just getting away from racing for a while, and I'd ridden for 17 years since I was 15. So it was nice to take a step back and spend a bit of time with my family and have a normal job.
Tell us about that normal job. What have you been up to?
Well, I was working on a turf farm for 6 months. It was really nice. It was nice just to have a normal job where I didn't have to lose weight all the time and could eat what I wanted, which was quite cool. But I got quite heavy and a bit uncomfortable there for a while, so it's nice to be back in shape.
So has it changed your perspective on both, on the racing industry and the importance of your time with the family?
Yeah, I think it's made me appreciate both of them more. It's a privilege to do what we do, and sometimes you can take that for granted. And you know, I'd been doing it for quite a while and was lucky enough to have a lot of success. So you start thinking that success is just going to keep rolling around the corner, and that's something I'm not going to take for granted going forward. And yeah, spending time with my beautiful kids and just being present. It's a big difference just sitting in the room and not being present to actually being present and being involved in everything they do.
Well, it is a very crisp morning here, there's no denying that. Somewhat different to the conditions that you would have been having in Thailand. How was your time in Thailand?
Yeah, no, it was really good, and it was just nice to have a bit of time just to myself, and obviously being with the kids and at home for 7 months, it was pretty full on. So I was over there for 8 days, and it gave me a chance just to concentrate on my body and my health and getting myself right. And I shredded a lot of weight over there, which was quite good, and come back feeling nice and strong. I got up to 70 kilos, so I had 16 to lose and down to the last 4. So it's been a long road.
You spoke, the last couple of years quite openly about how you'd been placed, your mental health and how you've been battling with that and how you've been managing that. You seem much lighter, you seem much happier. How are you feeling as we head into the spring?
I'd been riding since I was 15, so I was very young, and I probably didn't get a chance to really sort of get to know myself, and after losing Nathan, never really had any time off either. So it was nice to just take a step back, figure out who I was and get back to the person I enjoyed being, which I sort of lost my way for a little bit there. So I did sort of go down a little bit of a dark path when I first got time for a couple of weeks, but that was natural, and I got that out of my system, and like I said, stopped feeling sorry for myself and picked myself back up. But it was nice to get back to feeling like the old Tommy, and I haven't felt like that for a very long time, so it's nice.
How does everyone feel having the old Tommy back?
Yeah, they're a bit annoying. I think I'm a bit more bright and up and about, but I could see, even just talking to my parents, they're just, they can see something in me that they haven't seen in a while, and so is Shani. So it's nice to just get a bit of feedback from them and from an outsider looking in, and I think when I get back to racing, everyone will see a different person as well.
You're back at track work, you're back around the trainers, the other jockeys. Are they happy to have you back?
Yeah, they are. It's like I probably got a break from them, and they got a break from me as well. So it was probably good for all of us. I think by the end of me riding, they'd probably had enough of me. I wasn't very consistent in anything I was doing, which is very much unlike me. So I think they're happy to have me back, feeling good and happy and very enthusiastic.
Well, it's lovely to see you back. We are so excited to see you back in the saddle. What date?
27th of September here at Rosehill.
Hey, it's great to have your company, Racing Dreams. Jules is visiting New Zealand this week, Julie. And look, I tell you what, you just always have it, don't you? You have that little luck with the beautiful weather, picturesque sky.
Look, Timmy, it hasn't been perfect all week, I assure you of that. We certainly got the New Zealand welcome earlier this week, but today it is absolutely beautiful. We're here at Trelawney Stud, just outside of Cambridge, and we're very lucky to have a few mares and foals behind us. It is such a special part of the world, and we've been so fortunate to go to some of the best studs here in New Zealand. We've been to Rich Hill, Elsdon Park, Waikato and Cambridge Stud. Now, speaking of Cambridge Stud, we're probably the first media actually to see the new Probabile filly in person. The New Zealand champ, who won 4 Group 1s in Australia, has produced this gorgeous filly by Almanzor, and you can probably see in the pictures there, the filly was feeling quite well in herself and keeping her mum busy and on her toes when we saw her there yesterday. So what the team there at Cambridge Stud have achieved over the past few years, brand new facilities. It is absolutely incredible what they've done there, Brendan and Joe Lindsay, and we'll be taking you inside the gates of Cambridge over the next couple of weeks. We can't wait to show you those pictures. But we've also had the chance, as I said earlier, to go to some other studs, including Rich Hill. Now, Rich Hill, it was a bit of a rainy day, but picturesque nonetheless. And what John Thompson has been there for about 30 years. He's celebrating 30 years there next year, and he's already got plans in place to mark that milestone, and rightly so. But they're stallions. They've got some incredible stallions there now, including Satono Aladdin, Shocking, Ace High, who is the baby of the group, and he certainly knows it. He keeps them on their toes. And Prazir, who was crowned the champion New Zealand sire for the first time last season. That is a huge achievement for John Thompson and the team at Rich Hill. So they are feeling very, very happy and very confident, and rightly so. He's a gorgeous type, this stallion. And what I really noticed about the stallions here in New Zealand at all the studs were they were so relaxed. The people were such happy people on all the farms as well. So I think there's a lot to be said for a happy horse, happy person. It goes hand in hand. And the last stud that we got to see was Elsdon Park. Now, this is a new name here in New Zealand, but some very familiar faces. The property is really interesting. It's really unique. They've got these undulating hills, and hopefully you can see the pictures there at the moment as well. And they've got this huge broodmare band, some beautiful foals on the ground at the moment. And what it is about this property is the landscape. So they've got great facilities, but the landscape is also really helping with the development of these foals, building really strong bones, and they're really big on the nutrition there as well. So we caught up with Kerry Cox, who's the managing director there. It is under new ownership at Elsdon Park. They're doing incredible job, and they've been there for about a year now, so that's already gone very quickly. Our time here in New Zealand has gone very quickly. A huge shout out to all the studs that have hosted us: Elsdon Park, Rich Hill, Cambridge Stud and Waikato Stud, and of course Brenton and Sherry here at Trelawney. We've had an incredible time. Unfortunately, it comes to an end today. We are heading home, but next week we will be showing you the beautiful pictures and meeting some incredible people, sharing the stories that we've got here while we've been here as well. So sadly, we're coming home, Timmy. The fun is over.
Oh, well, we can't wait to see you. We've missed you, and you've done a wonderful job. Did you sneak a little Otago Pinot Noir in there somewhere? Just a little tiny. Little.
Have you met me, Timmy?
I know you well. You're my friend. Travel well, and we look forward to you back in the studio next week. Cheers, Jules. We're just a week away from the official start of the Spring Carnival for Sydney racing. The pinnacle of this time of the year, of course, is the richest race on turf, the Everest. There are a few slot holders that have made their choice. Others, like the great Max Whitby, are yet to decide, and he joins me now. Morning, Max. How are you?
Hello, Tim. How are you, mate? Good.
Very, very good. Any closer yet? It's a chess game. I know we do have a number of horses that are in slots at this point. There's some exciting horses around at the moment. Where are you at?
Well, there's 4 away already, and they're pretty outstanding horses that have been already selected. So we're probably another week away, mate. You've got the shorts next week. Couple of, see how the favourite goes down in Melbourne today, etc., etc. So there's a few things happening. Run to the Roses, indicating race, so it's a bit more will be revealed tonight, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think, just generally, what did you think of Remarque's win last week? Of course, we saw the retirement of Nature Strip and Eduardo.
Inside Eduardo.
Yeah, well, you could say it was a terrific win. Good camp, of course. The Hawks, they know what they're doing. I haven't had the phone calls yet, but I wouldn't expect, I expect that'll be happening in the next few days too.
There's another exciting horse. You mentioned Melbourne, and it doesn't race this week. It races next week. It's with Mick Price and, of course, Michael Kent Jr., this stallion, 4-year-old stallion, lightly raced, unbeaten, what you need. There's a few about, isn't there?
Yeah, there are, mate. It's as I said, the early 4 went pretty quickly, and the balance is still swinging, and there's a few more races to things unravel. Last couple of years we've gone early. Now we're paused, waiting, take our time.
Yeah, take your time. What about the increase in prize money to 20 million? It's extraordinary, Max. Can you tell us what that price means for the industry? Because it helps everyone, doesn't it, when you have got a race of this magnitude?
Well, it's just become everything we thought it would become, Tim. It's 20 million, 700 to nominate your horse now. You run last, you get your money back. So you can take that to the bank, I reckon. So very exciting, just keeps getting stronger and stronger. And Peter Volandes, we wrap him every week, every month, every year, and but the Everest concept has been fantastic. Who would have thought you'd be racing for $20 million?
Oh, absolutely. Tell me why you love the industry so much, Maxie. You absolutely, you're into it up to your bootlaces. You got some beautiful foals on the ground up at Kitchwin Hills. Tell me about your love of the industry.
Yeah, well, Jules has just showed you Savabeel. Of course, he was my great anchor, and he only just got knocked off at the start of the year last year, but he served me very well. We raced him, sold him, taken shares in him. I've still got interest in him, and Wish I Win's going to go around probably second or third favourite in the Everest. So love the Kiwis. So I've spent a lot of time there over the years, bred a lot over there. But basically, the Australian action's all up at KWH with Mick Malone, best horseman in Australia. Having a few foals the last couple of weeks. Got about another 20 to go, I guess, as of this morning's report. Been very, very beautiful days, but very cold nights, so it's slowing up the birthing rate, I guess. But been in the business a long time. Savabeel really put me on the map. Had a lot of fun, still having fun at my ripe old age of 72, and we're still in there swinging, mate.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to having a cold libation with you at the races very, very soon. And anything for our punters today? Just a little something with a pencil, just to mark to one side.
Well, everyone in Sydney owns a bit of the horse. It's called Waterford, trained by Waller. Tyler Schiller rides. Very good show, I think. And I've got one down with Bjorn Baker, which is the Savabeel at Kembla Grange in race 5. Bobby Shiraz, 1 start, 1 win. So 1400, bit short, but finishes very well.
At Kembla. Max, it's always great to have you on the program. Have a lovely day, mate.
Grange. Thanks, Tim. Good to see you, mate. All the best.
Now, when you think of great partnerships, you think of the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, even the Woodies in tennis. Racing has its own great partnerships, of course, Waterhouse Bott and so many others. One that is going from strength to strength is Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. in Melbourne. Recently, I was in Melbourne and I caught up with Michael Kent in the Southern Capital at a function for the Osher Group Horse Racing Syndicate. Here's Michael.
Spring, it's so exciting, isn't it, Michael, to look forward to it?
That's the best. We work all winter for. I mean, it's very cold down in Melbourne, 4 a.m, it's raining sideways all the time, and if you want, am I doing this sport, but when you see a good horse like Globe or What You Need, put the hair of the door, that's why you do it.
Yeah, and What You Need, precocious type, very talented horse, and a chance at the Everest, you and Mick are thinking?
Oh, we'd love to get him there. That's our dream. So I think it'll depend on how he runs first up. If he runs and wins, I think there'll be a slot for him. We've got a number of calls already. He's extremely exciting. He's an entire, so he's got to win big races to East stud, but he's the right sort of horse. He's a big, powerful sprinter. He's unbeaten, of course. He'll kick off in the McEwen Stakes against Giga Kick, I think. And look, if you've got a spot then, we might go to the Premier Stakes, which is the obvious Everest lead-in, and then the Everest. If we don't get a spot, we'll aim at a Group 1 in Melbourne.
It's a real chess game, isn't it? The slot holders, with the discussions with the owners, it's taken on a real sense of magic. People all around the world are talking about the Everest.
No, it's changed the face of the sprinting game in the world, that's for sure. I mean, you may get international horses come as well, but our sprinters are so strong at the moment. Giga Kick, I Wish I Win. This new wave coming through is just so exciting. I think this horse, What You Need, is a part of that. Ben Mellon rides him every gallop and trial, and he thinks he's good enough, so I'll go with that.
What You Need comes clear. Nice winner. And one of the other big races, of course, of the Sydney Spring is the Golden Eagle for 4-year-olds, and there's 3 that you're thinking about that could be perfect for that.
Yeah, well, of course, we won that race 2 years ago with I'm Thunderstruck, and the prize money's since gone up again, $10 million. I mean, it's staggering. So how can you not have a look at it with your nice 4-year-olds that are progressing through the ranks? So we got 3 that look obvious. Amenable's beautiful Lonhro colt, 4-year-old. He was a late foal. He's always been framey with, a bit light on condition. It's the first time he's looked like a real horse. I'm really excited for him. We've got Laced Up Heels, a new team member from Perth, actually. So she's actually beaten Amelia's Jewel before. Very classy Tornado mare. She is really impressing us at home. We're very happy with her. she could go via the Silver Eagle potentially. And then there's a horse called Golden Path. He runs in the Zaki colours, the blue and red. He's won 2 from 3, very promising.
I'm Thunderstruck, a cult hero in so many ways. It was terribly sad for the stable and the industry when he had to get put down. It made people get quite nostalgic about his achievements on the racetrack.
Yeah, it is, and it's heavy in my heart. You know, I love that horse. We all did. He was extra special, not just because he was a good racehorse. He had the most amazing character. He really put a smile on your face, and he's now laid to rest peacefully at my farm, actually. So we're just in the process of doing a nice garden above him, and yeah, he'll be always fondly remembered.
Jacquino, changing subjects, brilliant run in the Everest, of course, won the Golden Rose, now at stud. He was a fantastic racehorse. And he's at the next stage of his career now.
Yeah, he's something else. I saw him on TV the other night. He's really let down into a beautiful bull. Going up to Widden to the Stallion weekend to have a look at him too. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, what a racehorse he was. He's got a huge pedigree and a devastating turn of foot. He can sustain speed unlike most horses. You know, there's good horses and there's exceptional horses. Well, you look at his win the Golden Rose, In Secret, who franked the form, winning the Coolmore, probably the best filly of her generation. Well, he spotted her 8 lengths, was the only horse down the outside, all by himself. Nothing took him in and got on the line. I mean, it was a huge, huge win. So he was a top-class animal. Then went to the Everest. Again, mighty unlucky. I mean, only beaten a length and a half. Slightly checkered passage. I'm not sure if he wins, but with a better run down the outside, he goes a lot closer. So I'm told he's been very popular, and that's no surprise.
Have a great spring.
Thank you.
Jacquino storming home. In Secret up the fence. Jacquino wide out. Jacquino got up.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. Racing analyst Brad Gray is back, of course, the male model from Miranda. How are you, Bradley?
I'm good, thank you, Tim. They've left you up to your own devices there in the studio by yourself. How's that going, holding forth?
Yeah, we're clinging on here. Julie's over there doing a wonderful job in New Zealand. Some of the shots out of Cambridge and then Max Whitby talking about, you know, his interest in Savabeel. It's great to be able to get out and about and show the majesty of this industry, mate. Now, the final meeting ahead of the Everest Carnival features a top-class card headlined by the Group 2 Run to the Rose.
Yeah, we get to see the 3-year-olds there as we march towards the Golden Rose, which is only just around the corner, isn't it? So we see the likes of Militarised return. We see horses coming through the San Domenico. We get another look at Cylinder, and who's not to say that he couldn't end up in an Everest spot there as a 3-year-old. We know the 3-year-olds have a fantastic record. So as far as a tip in the race, I've actually gone the way of Butch Cassidy, Tim. I'm thinking that he's the one the market's missed. He's double-figure odds. I thought he was just as good as, yeah, exactly right, as good as Libertad there in the San Domenico, yet there's a big discrepancy in their price, and at the moment, Gai Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, their horses are just running through brick walls. So have something each way on Butch Cassidy. I don't think you'll go too far wrong. Don Corleone back today as well for the Snowdens? Yeah, he is. So there's a bit of intent to be read into his trial. He was ridden on top of the speed, and he ran them along and did it quite nicely at the finish. So he's a horse that pretty much showed up in everything. As a 2-year-old, he's in Blue Diamonds. He should have won that. He was in the Golden Slipper. He was in the Sides and the Champagne. So he's obviously a horse with a good constitution to be up for so long, and keen to see what he can do at his first run back as a 3-year-old as well. So what are your best bets today, mate? Yeah, so we've got a few other features. We've got the Ming Dynasty, where I'm quite keen on the chances of NCAP. We almost got the cash with him at big odds last time out. We'll go to the well once more. We're not getting the double figure odds, but he's hard enough to beat. The Theo Marks, a mare trained by Joe Pride. That's Argentia. She's third up today, and she meets a few of her key rivals with a fitness advantage. I think that is key, and hence why the market support has been there. Best bets, though, I think the Blue Army will be on the march today, Godolphin and James Cummings. So best bets for me, race 6, Zapateo, a mare first up today. She gets a lovely run on the map, just camps in behind the speed and can get the better of I Am Me late, who does look the main danger. And one in the lucky last is a red card. She is a sharp filly. I love what she did at the end of last campaign. She went to a whole new level. She's lightly raced. She's already won the 5 from the 10 starts, and there's every chance that she can go to another level again this time back. And a roughie in the first, Defiant Heart. That's the meeting's midway handicap. He was great there last time out. Just has to stretch to 1,200 metres, but around that $10 quote, I think he'll run a race.
Defiant Heart, a little bit of a rough one there. Anything else in the rough category? You know how much I love them. You can't win money from backing favourites all the time.
Yes, I know you love a roughie, Tim. So have something on Congregation. If there's another roughie that I can throw into the mix. He's in the same race as NCAP, but he's about $25, $26 at the moment. He's a horse that's won 2 of his 3 starts. He's got a big pedigree, and he hasn't won his starts he hasn't won by big margins in his first preparation, but what he did have is a bit of ticker, and you can't train that in racehorses. Those horses that just got that will to win seems to be a natural instinct, and I think he's got that about him. So Chris Waller, first up, 1,400 metres, throw him into everything.
It's exciting, isn't it? It really is. We're about to embark on another Spring Carnival. All starts next week. As you say, good racing today. There's good racing in Melbourne, some good horses coming back down there, Globe, and what you need next week. So it's all happening. Bradley, have a good weekend, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Hopefully we find a few winners.
Absolutely. And thank you, as always, to our wonderful sponsors, Arrowfield, Racing New South Wales, Bet365, Godolphin, Newhaven Park. Great to have you on board. And that was Racing Dreams. Julie will be back in the studio next week. See you then.